It's the year 536 AD. You wake up around 6 a.m., expecting the sun to greet you as it always does. But something's different. The world outside is shrouded in an eerie twilight, as if the night decided to linger far longer than it should. You step outside, and the air feels heavy, cold, and unnatural. The sun is barely visible, a dim, ghostly orb hanging in the sky, struggling to pierce through a dense veil of dust and ash. Days turn into weeks, and the sun remains obscured. Crops begin to wither in the fields, unable to thrive without sunlight. The temperature plummets, and soon a chilling cold grips the land. People huddle together in their homes, terrified and confused, wondering if they're witnessing the end of days. Across the world, from Europe to Asia and even parts of Africa, the same scene unfolds. The skies are darkened, the air is thick with ash, and the earth seems to have entered a perpetual state of twilight. This was no ordinary eclipse or seasonal change. What the people of 536 AD were experiencing was a cataclysm on a global scale, one that would plunge the world into what many historians now refer to as the Dark Ages. But what could have caused such widespread devastation? The answer lies in a series of volcanic eruptions so powerful that they altered the course of history. The first culprit is believed to be a massive volcanic eruption in Iceland. This eruption sent a colossal plume of ash and debris high into the stratosphere, where it spread across the northern hemisphere, blocking out sunlight for months, and in some regions even years. But this wasn't just a single event. Over the next few years, other volcanic eruptions followed, compounding the effects and keeping the Earth in a state of darkness. As the sun's rays were blocked, global temperatures dropped dramatically. Some estimates suggest that the average temperature fell by as much as 2.5 degrees Celsius. While this may not sound significant, it was enough to cause widespread crop failures, leading to famine, disease, and societal collapse in many parts of the world. In Europe, the effects were devastating. The once fertile lands were no longer able to sustain crops. Famine spread like wildfire, and with it came disease. The bubonic plague, which had already been a scourge in previous centuries, re-emerged with a vengeance. In 541 AD, just a few years after the onset of the volcanic winter, the Justinian plague struck the Byzantine Empire. It would go on to claim the lives of an estimated 25 to 50 million people, nearly half the population of Europe at the time. The harsh conditions forced people to abandon their homes and villages in search of food and warmth. Entire communities were wiped out, leaving behind ghost towns and barren landscapes. The social fabric of Europe began to unravel as kingdoms crumbled and once thriving trade routes fell silent. But the catastrophe wasn't limited to Europe. In the Middle East and Asia, the same story played out. The Sasanian Empire, one of the most powerful empires of the time, struggled to maintain control as famine and disease spread across its territories. In China, the effects of the volcanic winter were equally dire. The Northern Wei dynasty, already weakened by internal strife, saw its agriculture devastated, leading to mass starvation and civil unrest. Even the mighty Gupta Empire in India, which had been a beacon of culture and learning, wasn't immune to the effects. The lack of sunlight and the cooling temperatures disrupted the monsoon patterns, leading to droughts and crop failures. The Gupta Empire, already in decline, found it increasingly difficult to maintain its hold over its territories. Historians and chroniclers of the time struggled to make sense of the events they were witnessing. Procopius, a Byzantine historian, wrote of a dust veil that covered the sun for 18 months, casting the world into a perpetual twilight. Others described the sun as blue or dim, barely able to cast shadows during the day. The ancient Chinese records also tell of a mysterious dust cloud that blotted out the sun, leading to the failure of the crops and the migration of people. In the British Isles, the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle speaks of a year without summer, where snow fell in the middle of July. But it wasn't just the lack of sunlight that made 536 AD the worst year in history. The volcanic eruptions had also triggered a series of climatic changes that would have long-lasting effects on the planet. The volcanic ash and sulfur dioxide released into the atmosphere caused a chain reaction of climatic disruptions. The ash particles reflected sunlight away from the Earth, leading to a phenomenon known as volcanic winter. But the cooling effect wasn't limited to the atmosphere. The oceans also absorbed less heat, causing shifts in ocean currents and weather patterns. These changes led to erratic and extreme weather events across the globe. In some regions, torrential rains and flooding became the norm, while in others, droughts persisted for years. The once predictable seasonal patterns were thrown into chaos, making it nearly impossible for civilizations to recover. As the years passed, the world slowly began to emerge from the shadow of 536 AD. The volcanic ash eventually settled and the sun's light returned to its full strength, but the damage had been done. The famine, disease, and social upheaval had left a lasting mark on the world. Many of the empires and kingdoms that had once dominated the globe were now weakened or gone entirely. But out of the darkness came a new era. The challenges of 536 AD forced humanity to adapt and innovate. In the years that followed, new technologies, agricultural practices, and social structures emerged, laying the groundwork for the future. The medieval period, often seen as a time of stagnation, was also a time of rebuilding and resilience, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. The year 536 AD serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of our world. It was a time when nature itself seemed to turn against humanity, bringing civilization to the brink of collapse. Yet, it was also a time of survival and adaptation, a period that would shape the course of history for centuries to come. As we look back on that dark year, we are reminded of the resilience of the human spirit and our ability to endure even the most catastrophic events. In the grand tapestry of history, 536 AD stands as a turning point, a year that tested the limits of human endurance and ultimately our capacity to rebuild and thrive. For more captivating stories from history, subscribe and delve into the moments that shaped our world.